Awesome. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. And since today is our Health and Vitality Day, and we have an amazing guest, I'm going to ask you a question to you, Chase. Do you know what sea monsters eat?
Do I know what sea monsters eat? No.
Fish and chips.
And then he laughs. I love it. Laugh at your own stuff too. I like that. You told us. You warned us.
It was awesome. It's not too bad, right? I mean, come on, fish and chips. Fish and chips. That's what sea monsters eat.
It's pretty interesting.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Atlanta. Good morning, Southeast, East Coast, New York, West Coast, wherever you are. Thank you for being here. It is not a small thing that you're here. You could be anywhere in the world right now, navigating through unbelievable amount of information on the internet, and you choose to be here. I will not take that lightly at all. We say around here that the way you start your day gives you the rest of the day, and the way that you live each day gives you the rest of your life. So your future, really, if you think about it, your future is right now, really, right now. Today, we have a phenomenal human being who's going to be sharing with us a conversation inside of this context. Is it possible for a musician to eat fully plant-based? Is it possible for a musician, or for you as a high performer in life, for you who have a busy life, for you who have a lot of things going on, is it possible for you to eat a healthy lifestyle? Could you take that on? Is it possible? Today, we're going to be diving into that conversation with the amazing Chase. But before we say a little bit about Chase, let's anchor ourselves, let's prime ourselves in a powerful state before the world comes and primes us, okay? Andrea, good morning, Andrea. Great to see you. Lovely smile. How are you and where are you?
Gio, I am the way I say I am, and I'm going to continue with this trend of I am powerful.
You are powerful.
Yeah, and where I am, right where I need to be, right here with you guys.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. Sorel, I see you are unmute, so let me ask you this. What time is it, and who are you going to hug today?
Gio, the time is now. And I'm going to hug my beautiful spouse, Miss Susan.
Thank you, Sorel. The time is now, and Sorel brings family to the Daily Huddle. Chase, one last question for you. One thing you're grateful for.
Oh, today, I am grateful for having a strong heart, because it's necessary. In this past year, it was uber necessary to have a strong heart. So I'm grateful for it.
Not a small thing. I think the heart beats 3 million times a year. And we never have to say thank you. I mean, think about abundance.
Right.
Thank you, Chase. Thank you for creating that. So today, Chase is going to diving into a conversation about the possibility of eating plant-based. And we're going to use the context of his life, right? I'm going to say a little bit about him, and really it's the tip of the iceberg of the opportunity that his life has been. Chase Steele Greye. How do I pronounce your last name, Chase?
Greye, you got it. You got it. Right.
Greye is a multi-faceted artist who specializes in vocal. You know, this is kind of cool. Vocal performance. I want to learn to do that. His talents have taken him all over the world to over 20 countries. Chase is the owner and CEO of Ricochet Worldwide Play, a music event company that provides talent for high-end events around the world. Chase has many passions, from photography, handmade fiction items, culinary arts, theater, and dance. He's also well-versed in vegetarianism and maintaining a healthy lifestyle that is 80% plant-based on any given day. Lastly, he hosts a podcast entitled The Morning Mind Podcast, which is available on most streaming channels. If you want to connect with Chase, we're going to leave the information in the chat. Chase, thank you for being here. Thank you for being co-hosting with us today. And Chase, how did the journey to embrace a healthy lifestyle like plant-based started, just to get us going?
Thank you so much, Gio. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. And to keep it short and sweet, the journey started being immersed with musicians that were completely unhealthy, if I'm to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe back in, let's call it 2003, because I had already traveled around the world and I returned back to New York. I was already healthy. I was very healthy, but I was eating different types of meats and so on and so forth. And by the way, just for context, I grew up maybe until the age of 21 eating everything I wanted to eat, right? So it more started when I was around all these musicians who were really doing a lot of bad stuff. Like I can't even tell you how it was. So that's where it began, just to keep it short.
Thank you. And then, so you were looking at this really unhealthy lifestyle for everyone around you. And I want to imagine that in the music world, in the entertainment world, it's not only bad food that that is around, but not sleeping well, consumption of other things, and so then you saw this possibility of health, plant-based, and take us a little bit on the journey, and anything else you want to share.
So when I was traveling abroad, and as a musician, I have a wide range of possibilities to eat, right? Think about it. I'm on a cruise ship. I was in Alaska. I was in Italy. I was in Turkey. I was in Greece. I was in Asia. And I always had buffets around. Buffets everywhere. Free food everywhere. Jeez. Everywhere I went, free food everywhere.
My
dream. So when you're making a choice, when you have all the choices, how do you pick plant-based? How does that look for you? So for me, I am a very high energy person, and being in the show, my body was moving a lot, and I was walking around the ship and I was walking on ports. So I was in good shape all the time. I was never overweight on the cruise ship. However, I started to notice a theme, whether it be like a lethargic feeling or not being able to digest properly after a while. My body was trying to give me like a signal, it seemed like. And then when I transitioned from being on the cruise ship to being on the land again in New York City, I was auditioning for musicals and doing different things. And then I got picked to be on a musical. So I went around the United States twice. Again, food everywhere. But this time, the choice was more on me because we were traveling in buses and trains and airplanes. And it was like, oh, what am I going to pick up? Am I going to pick up the apple, or am I going to pick up the Kit Kat? Let's make that decision right now. And I started to make it more and more and more. And then I started to move more and more into the direction of plant-based. When I came off the tour, I was raw vegan, and I was involved in Bikram. Raw vegan for me was so, it was so over the top that my body just went, and it just like, I was so slender that my friends were asking about me, like, what's going on with you? You're so skinny, what happened? And it was because I believe it was because I went into Bikram yoga and went raw vegan at the same time. So I was doing Bikram yoga 4 to 5 times a week, and I would do the 30-day challenge in the beginning of every year, every day for 30 days. The body just releases everything. All the perspiration, all the bad stuff from your body just comes out. And then you're feeling this new way. Now, I want to say that the raw vegan lifestyle has been celebrated by lots of people, even to this day. For me, it was a little too extreme, so I had to pull out of that and then go to plant-based vegetarian or vegetarianism in that realm. But I studied it too. I didn't just do it. I studied it, and I realized that when you're plant-based, there's no risk of high cholesterol. There's no cholesterol in plant-based foods. There's only cholesterol in the faux foods, right? That's where you start to get the high saturated fats, the veggie burgers and the veggie chicken, and then you're inviting it back in again. I was like, oh, okay. So these people are telling me I'm eating plant-based. I felt good about it. And then I started reading and I was like, oh man. So now I'm in another place. So you can see how navigating from one to the other, if you just keep it simple, right? Not to make this a whole complicated situation. If you really, really keep it simple and eat plant-based, true plant-based, from the beans to the legumes to the rices to the fruits to the grains, like that's the plant-based stuff. And so I started to develop a hunger for that and how to prepare it and how to make it look colorful and make it taste good. And it just started a whole journey with the Vitamix, the food processor and the air fryer and all the things that I got in. I was like, oh, this is cool. I like this. And that's pretty much how everything kind of, came together.
Wow. I can't, I'm still stuck with the cruise ships and the buffet, and you can eat anything you want.
Yeah.
And then there was this moment of consciousness that, I guess for some people it's a little bit easier than others, but never mind, it's still a little bit difficult. That moment of consciousness where you said, I'm going to take on the apple instead of the chocolate, and making that transition. And inside of that context, Chase, I wanted to ask you, I always want to ask this question, and let me tell you why I want to ask this question. Because I have found that the way people perceive things, the way things occur for people, gives them their behavior. It's a match to their behavior. And so I wanted to ask you, how does food occur to you? How do you perceive food such that your self-expression, your behavior is in a kind of a structure that for most people is like, like really out there, like, 80% plant-based, and you're a musician and you have food everywhere, and that's not you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat when you're in that kind of environment. You could pick anything and the budget is not a problem. How does food occur to you? How does food and how does your body occur to you? How do you see your body and how do you see food?
Well, to keep the answer really simple, the plant base comes out of the ground. The ground is saturated with fertilized minerals. So if I'm putting the minerals which create the plants into my body, I'm reaping the benefits of that right away, high vibrationally right away, right? Plants and flowers and all the things that happen, they don't struggle. They come out at the right time, they leave at the right time, and they keep rejuvenating. So imagine eating, in a day, I eat a lot of greens, but imagine the energy from the greens going into your body, all the time, or the potassium from the banana, or the apple, because I'm a vocalist, scraping my throat with the pectin and making me feel clearer, or the dates that I eat, or the oranges that I eat. All these things have all these amazing properties that goes into the body, right? The body doesn't want to struggle, right? Yes, we digest, right? We have our own like peristalsis, and we break down the stuff in our intestine, and we have the enzymes that break it down. But when you stuff food in, i.e. Thanksgiving, all the turkey, all the stuffing, all the meat, all the cranberry, or whatever, our intestines are not that big. They're very narrow. So you can imagine that goes further now. Now we're working. Now we're tired. Now I'm gonna go to sleep. It all turns into the same thing. It's like what you see is what's going in. If you see somebody eat a big ribeye steak, that's another problem I was gonna say a second ago. It's the chewing. We're not chewing our food. If we chew our food 20 to 60 times, sounds like a lifetime, the food goes down differently. The food's processed differently. The food comes out differently. If you don't chew it, well, how do you expect it to get through these miles of intestine that we have? It feels like we have so much, can't get through. So in answer to your question, I think about that when I'm consuming food. That's how I stay thin, and that's how I stay in shape, because my business is directly related to how I look as well. So I'm not saying there aren't any people in my business that are overweight, that are great people. I don't, judge them or whatever. I work with some people that are very overweight, phenomenal musicians, phenomenal human beings, but they struggle. They struggle to stay on the stage a long time. I have a friend, haven't seen him a long time. He's a very big, burly guy, like big stomach, big, but he can play the bass. It will make you cry. The bass is supposed to lay flat on your body. His bass lays up here because of his stomach. So that changes the way he plays. See how everything goes into everything, right? As a vocalist, if I don't have the right respiratory power, I sing differently. I struggle more. So that's the correlation between what I'm eating and what I'm not eating, right? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I can see how you have this worldview of consciousness everywhere, right? That from the opportunity of looking at where is the food coming from and how it is being built together organically, and then what happens when it comes into my body. So what I'm hearing you're saying is that there's no separation for you between your body and the earth, right? And you allow yourself to connect it all so that it becomes like who you are, to have this healthy lifestyle in this difficult, I would imagine, right? I don't know, but this difficult environment to have a healthy lifestyle or a plant-based lifestyle. The question, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say what you just said. The one sentence that I've heard forever for the last 15 years is, yeah, I understand, Chase. I understand you want to eat plant-based, but it's hard to eat healthy. What do you mean it's hard to eat healthy? There's supermarkets everywhere. We're the most abundant country in the world. You can go anywhere and buy whatever you want. Yeah, but you buy this, you buy that. Like, I have kids, I have this and that. I got to feed everybody at one time. So I just go and get a McDonald's. I just go get them Wendy's and I solve it. And I go, okay. Again, no disrespect if your family, when I saw the movie Super Size Me, there was a guy in that movie that was talking about that. I can feed my whole family for $20. I'll go to McDonald's. If you want me to go to the grocery store and get avocados and kale and grapes and oranges and dates, that's expensive. And that was his argument. So I always say, and my friends have heard me say this, if it's too expensive to eat well, then you're just going to wind up giving your money to the doctor. Which one would you rather? Because over time, that's what happens. And I'm not preachy. Don't get me wrong. I eat around everybody. You could eat a triple burger with cheese and bacon in front of me. I'm open. I'm not militant about it. This is just my choice. What I'm making the choice. When I saw those videos, I never want to see them again, of how angry the animals were when they were killed and then they were used for meat. You were saying earlier, that transfers onto us, right? It goes into our body afterwards. And then I think we can all agree that some people are walking around really angry, and it's part of their diet that makes them that way. So over time, we see the result of that. To be really transparent, I'm just going to say this because it's true. About 2 weeks ago, I was at a gathering. I had some salad. I had some fruits that were there. And someone said, I know you don't eat meat, but try this. You're going to love it. I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. I had a little plate of this meat, I think it was chicken, and it had all these really awesome spices on it, whatever. And then I had like I forget what the other thing was. Let's say I had 2 or 3 pieces of meat. Hand to God. When I got home that night, I heard, and I was like, oh my God. My body was speaking to me. For the next 2 days, you can complete the end of that story. Wow. Incredible. So we get into a way as well. It's a habit forming thing. If you started eating plant-based tomorrow, the next couple of weeks will be tricky for you. Yes, absolutely. But it's the cleansing effect. And I just have a lot of things to do. And I want to make sure I'm showing up at an optimal level. That's all.
Yeah, it's such a without this conversation is so easy to, it is so easy to be righteous about, because the evidence is overwhelming for why the opportunity of eating healthy and having optimal energy level, optimal body. But I have found that the going down the creating a case through guilt doesn't really influence anyone other than equip them to equip people to defend themselves or to feel ashamed of what they do, and they just hide. And there's no new behavior. So, but one of the things that I'm really walking away in what you're saying, that is this great possibility that you're putting on, that you are sharing with us as a musician. When you posed the question at the beginning, is it possible for a musician to eat healthy, have a healthy plant-based style? One of the things that you're really laying out, for me at least, is that there is an optimal way to show up in life as a musician or as a human being, whatever we do. And this lifestyle of really taking a look at what am I putting into my body? Is it connected organically with earth? It doesn't have the pain that the animals went through, right? And I'm putting into my body, and it connects me with the possibility of an optimal way of living, an optimal lifestyle. And I think that's something that I'm really hearing from you. Anything else you want to add about that, and being a musician, and how that has been for you? And for the rest of you, if you have a question or a comment, please go ahead and raise your hand.
Yeah, I mean, I work with hundreds of musicians, and out of the hundreds of musicians that I work with, or work in my company, maybe less than 15 of them have this kind of lifestyle. So the options are there to eat a certain way, and you choose it or you don't choose it. That's it. There was a study a couple of years ago done where they took 10 people out into the middle of America and gave them a plant-based diet for just under 30 days. Or you could leave whenever you wanted, but it was 30 days. 3 out of the 10 people left. I don't want to do this anymore. It sucks. I'm getting out of here. Okay, no problem. The 7 that stayed all had incredible increases in all their optimal health, all of them. And they went back to their doctors, and the doctor said, "What did you do? This is like a new person. All your vitals are different, whatever." And they told him, I went to this retreat, and I ate this food. 30 days. That wasn't even a lot of time, right? Just like in Super Size Me, the guy eats McDonald's for 30 days. He starts off healthy. At the end of the 30 days, the doctor says, "You're going to die. If you keep eating like this, you're going to die next month." He was like, "Wow, really?" He goes, "Yes, you're almost on your way to dying." So the information is there. Again, it's not a preachy thing. I talk to people when they want to talk to me about it. And my musician friends think I'm weird. A lot of them, they're like, "I don't know how you could do these gigs. That's all you're going to eat." They're concerned about me. They're like, "What are you drinking? I always see you drinking at the gig. What are you drinking?" Yeah, I'm like, "I'm drinking cranberry juice." "But you're so happy. There's no alcohol in that?" "No, it's just cranberry juice." They're like, "I always see you drinking that cranberry juice." And they come up to me like they're studying me, like I'm some little, whatever. I never see you eat.
So you don't drink alcohol either?
I don't drink alcohol. No.
As a musician, wow, that is a big.
I know I'm like a weird person in my industry. They don't understand it.
You are a role model. What weird person?
They don't get it. That's why I don't drink alcohol. I'm asked at least 10 times a month, "What's that drink you had? I want some of that." "What drink? What are you talking about?" And I had a guy who once didn't believe me. I let him try it. "Here, it's cranberry juice. You don't believe me? Why don't you believe me?" But again, and you know this from personal development, it's just a habit. After a while, it doesn't affect you anymore. You're not feeling this, "Oh, I want that lobster so bad." Like it doesn't go through my head anymore. And there's challenges. There's challenges, right? Oh, I see you, Andrea. There's challenges. I don't want everyone to think that I'm like this superhero person that doesn't have any challenges. I have challenges sometimes in certain situations where you have to choose not to eat that time. There's nothing there for you. You have to choose not to eat, right? We can go several days in a row without food and water. if we wanted to. We don't have to. I say drink water all day, no matter what. But food, we can do without food for quite a few days. You'd be very surprised how we can cleanse our bodies. There's fasts all over the world that tell you how to do that. So, you know, just look out for yourself, people. Like, just give it a shot for a little while and see if it makes you feel differently. That's all.
No, great. Thank you, Chase. Cece, you have a comment or a question? I think that's you, Cece.
Yes, this is me, Cece. Chase.
Hi, Cece.
This is excellent because, you know, I went plant-based and I lost a lot of weight. And then I got hungry. That means
then I got hungry.
I was looking at everybody like, what is going on? So, and then I started eating more beans and rice and vegetables and I started gaining weight. So I want to talk to you. Can I call you after?
Absolutely. And just let me say this one thing while you said that. Here's the thing, and this is a really big thing. When people talk to me and they say, well, you're eating plant-based? Well, I can't live with nuts and berries and seeds, and I can't do that. They assume that they know the sum of the possibilities, but they don't. Do you know how many books, how many websites, and how many physical brick and mortar places there are right now in the world? I mean, I'm in New York City, but there's so much information, so much. You couldn't get it all in one day. So you got to educate yourself. And I've helped people. They've called me and said, what do you do? What do you make? Get a juicer, get this, get that. All the things you can get from plant or from meats or any of the animal-based products, you can get from the plant-based products, but we're not taught that. We're just not taught that, right? Where do you get your B12? People always say that. What about your B12? You can't get that from plants, can you? I'm like, that's not all the way true, but I take B12 supplements. So that's why I get it. And I can go deeper into that. They're like, oh, but what about protein? I need protein. I got to eat my meat. And on. They're like shooting at me. And I'm like, okay, we can go there if you want to go there, but let's give it a shot.
Yeah, and I think that the possibility of the argument is it's not necessary to defend oneself, because for me, someone who is not 80% plant-based, or I'm definitely moving in that direction, but for me, there is no point in arguing about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can, whenever I have those days in a row where I am plant-based, the energy level is so remarkable. It is remarkable that what I battle, my personal battle, is on more of a feeling, emotion of addiction. You know, like when you're having to stop smoking. I don't know if any of you smoked or did any cool things like drugs and stuff. Getting out of it, it really takes something, and that has been my experience for me. But no point in trying to argue, where did you get your proteins? Who cares? I have way too many proteins in my body, right? Anyway, time flies, Chase. Anybody else has any other comment on questions? Time flies at the Daily Huddle. Any other comment or any other questions? I think Rashida was going to try to go on mute. Very good.
I want to say one more thing before we go.
I was going to ask you, what is the last thing you want to say today, Chase? Thank you for being here.
Right. Thank you so much. If you ever wonder what is the power of plant-based, just look at a deer or a gorilla. If you just want to ask yourself, what is the power? A gorilla could pick you up with one hand and throw you across the room. A deer can literally, from a standing position, be gone. When I was up in the countries many months ago, and I watched a deer eat an apple out of my hand, just took it and he stripped it down and he ate it. You see the definition of the body and the sleekness, all plant-based all the time. Can you imagine that? Like that? And there are plant-based athletes, and musicians, Lenny Kravitz, Morrissey, Billie Eilish, Paul McCartney. These are people who need a lot of their energy, and have the resources, obviously, to buy whatever they want. So they do it. So I'm just asking you to consider it for a little while and come back and tell us, how you feel. We can do a reboot another time. But I'm an advocate of it.
A testimony. Yes. Well, Chase, thank you for being here. Thank you for creating this conversation. Thank you for sharing your life with us. And we can't wait to hear you sing and teach us how to sing. Wouldn't that be cool?
You having vocal lessons with me? Let's do it.
No kidding. We all take a vocal lesson at the Daily Huddle. That will be something special.
That would be wonderful.
Everyone else, thank you for being here. Rashida, Jasenia, Daniel, Davila, Cece, Laura, iPhone, Ronald, Elite, Andrea, everybody, thank you for being here. It is not a small thing that you're here. Thank you for being part of the family. Tomorrow, we'll see you right at 9 a.m. to talk about relationships and communication. You know, your life can really work in many areas, but if your relationships are not working, you feel empty. You know, there's nothing worse than going to a vacation alone if you didn't want to be alone. Thank you all for being here. I love you. Sorrel loves you more. And remember to stay healthy, live like a renegade, have sexy skin and a sexy body. There are 8 tenets for your life. The first one is love. Love always. Love those you have an opinion about. Love those who you disagree with. Love those who eat plant-based and those who don't. Stress less. Really stress less. It's only one life, really. I don't know if there's another shot. Might as well stress less. Laugh out loud. Stretch your cheeks. It helps with the wrinkles, you know, laugh out loud. Eat more plant-based. Get closer to the trees. Hug the trees. Eat the trees. Move every day. 10 minutes right before breakfast, 10 minutes right after lunch. Move every day. Remember to sleep at least 7 hours. It's critical. Give what you have. Keep giving. Give your jealousy away. Give your resentment away. Give. And lastly, very important, from Dr. Monica Ogando, check your assumptions. Check what you think. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Thank you for being here. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
One love, guys. One love.
Oh, there she is.
One love, guys. One love. Bye now.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, Chase. See you.